What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of a Netflix movie called Tin and Tina. Let's check it out. So Netflix has a few movies that I like to watch every now and then. They tend to lean a little bit more into the fable-esque world, although there is some stuff that I do like on Netflix. But when it comes to horror, you never really know what you're going to get. But I do like that they do kind of supply world horror, where they get some stuff from Spain or India or wherever it may be and provide it on the service. So at least that. In fact, recently I've been looking up some Turkish films that are on Netflix that we might be talking about here soon. Anyway, what is Tin and Tina all about? So Tin and Tina is a movie about a woman named Lola and her husband, or they're getting married, husband Adolfo, when she suddenly has a miscarriage in her wedding, and they decide that they're going to adopt kids after numerous tries, and after, the loss of her child, she's waited and finally given in to go to an orphanage where they find Tin and Tina, these weirdos.
They are unique, special children.
These kids are super religious, but it's kind of up in the air as to what they're really up to, whether they're doing bad things because they're just so innocent, or they're doing bad things and using the innocence to make it seem like they're innocent. That's pretty much the gist here. As the family sort of gets closer to the kids, more and more bad things start to happen. Some are written off as accidents, others are not. This has a lot of kind of the same vibe in some ways. I don't want to say exactly like, but in some ways I actually get some real vibes from like Rosemary's Baby. In fact, the lead actress who plays Lola, the mother of these two kids, adopted kids, Melina Smith, she's actually doing a pretty damn good version of like a Mia Farrow from Rosemary's Baby. And some of the things that are happening around them kind of feel like it's like orchestrated, so it's really kind of trying to blur the line there, so you don't really know. And I also get vibes of stuff like The Omen in a way, even though it's not as direct. The overall cinematography and everything is probably where I'm getting a lot of these comparisons, maybe some of the performances, obviously, but it seems like these two movies are kind of used to push this movie. I would not be surprised if the director actually liked those films, but this is just my interpretation of what they put on the screen. It is beautifully shot, some of the best cinematography you'll find in a movie. It looks very well. The acting is actually pretty decent. You might want to watch it in its native language, which this is a Spanish film, but this time I wanted to because I just wanted to watch in English, and it wasn't actually that bad. And typically I'm the subtitles guy, so don't kill me, all right? Anyway, this is a movie that's directed by Ruben Stein, and it's actually his first directorial debut. He has done a lot of shorts that are very well shot. I watched a couple just to check them out, and yeah, I can see where the style has gone into this film because he is really got a keen eye. And I think there's a message that's kind of tucked into this movie while these kids are doing really fucked up things, or things are happening around them that you can't blame on anybody. But it's that ambiguity that is really kind of what this director is trying to pinpoint on you. And I say this because he also wrote it, so I think that this is a movie that is supposed to kind of take religion and atheism and just sort of like make you, the viewer, kind of play in between. And it doesn't matter which side you're really on or support or believe in or not. It's just playing with that sort of aspect between religion and atheism and somewhere in between. And it pretty much covers just about every viewer in that regard. And I think it does a damn fine job because they're making you wonder the whole time, who's at fault? And why are these horrendous and sometimes very unsettling things that are happening in this movie? I'm not going to say it's like, Martyrs or something like that when it comes to gore or something like that. But there are very darker tones in this film that would kind of mirror that. They just don't really show it. It's more of kind of like intended, and they're doing it behind a couch, or it's nothing like super graphic. But in the same regard, it's also doing some pretty dark things. The thought that comes to my mind, and this is completely random and nowhere near associated to this movie, but there's a scene in The Sadness where somebody does something with somebody's head and they don't show it, but it still feels wrong. That's kind of the vibe you're going to get in this movie. I wouldn't say it's really that slow. I think it's actually really well done in a way to kind of make you keep guessing and just feel like, screw these kids. Like, I don't want to deal with this. But the ending kind of does a sort of ambiguous thing as well, and I think that might upset people the most. If you don't like movies that make you kind of think a little bit towards the end of the movie and kind of wonder what really happened and kind of give you the moral dilemma as the viewer to kind of figure out what you think may or may not happen, it's kind of up in the air as to exactly what's going on, and that may upset a lot of people. In fact, I think this movie gets a really low score for just how well it's done, and it surprised me. I was really not expecting it to be as good as I thought it was because of these reviews. And the only thing I can think of is this challenge for the viewer to kind of discern what is going on yourself. And that ambiguity is kind of what upsets some people. And I see sometimes modern viewers of horror and stuff really don't like that ambiguity because then it's like, it kind of just pisses them off. But for me, I don't know. I like that kind of thing sometimes because I think it's not always good to just force words into people's minds and force dialogue into people's heads. It's kind of good to kind of blur that line because the real scary thing about this movie isn't necessarily the kids or the really crazy things that are happening in it. The blurring of reality between religion and atheism and how it could be used for either way. That's the scary part in this movie. And if you're that kind of person that is kind of on the border of both of those anyway, or not a fan of either, you might like this film. And I think it maybe in some regards, Ruben was kind of making a slight towards religion in a way by showing you just how the Bible and things in it really blur that line between, is this really a good thing or not? Because there's some pretty dark shit in the Bible, let me tell you. And sometimes these kids follow it literally, which is even more frightening. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it was actually pretty decent. It wasn't my favorite movie. Not something I would rewatch a whole lot. Now that I'm thinking of it, I actually feel like it's got notes of that Goodnight Mommy, if you ever saw that. There's like these two twin kids that are like fucking with their actress mother who's going through like a face job. They even did a remake of it. These twins are super creepy, by the way. They are extremely happy and extremely innocent. A little too innocent, if you know what I mean. But that's kind of the intention here. So, like I said, this isn't going to be for everybody. It's not super graphic, not super scary, but there's just some really kind of dark things in it that kind of feel like part fable and part like horror mixed into one. It's almost like a Guillermo del Toro film of the old days where there's like that brutality and darkness in it, but also that sort of fable-esque sort of storytelling in here. So if you've seen some of his earlier films, you might like that too. So these are some comparisons I think you can make to this film. Is it wholly original? Not really, but it's still a good watch, and I would give it at least a 7 out of 10, maybe even a 7.5. Wasn't my favorite film this year, but I've seen a lot worse. So, but you can find it on Netflix, so if you want to watch it and check it out for yourself, see what you think. If you have the subscription, why not? Check it out. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I got to say here today. But have you heard of this film? Did you even know it existed? Check out the trailer below. I think it'll give you a really good idea of kind of like the visuals and sort of the tone, because it's got this kind of fun whimsical thing and like this dark thing going on, which kind of makes it ultra creepy. Check it out if you like. If not, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from those who have seen it or haven't. And if you're going to check it out, let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button, and also the little bell notification to let you know when I got new videos. Check out my shorts. I put up new shorts on this channel so that you can check them out. I've been just kind of messing with, like, I don't know, making little short films, you know, with like stuff around the house and stuff. So I'm going to try to do more. We'll see how it goes. Let me know what you think. Thanks for coming by. And as always, long live the void.